nasi kupitia kwa mtumishi wako kilimo, na sasa tunapoketi kusikia kutoka ndugu yetu Kuit, na kwa baadaye wapendwa ambao wako nchi tofauti, naomba muendelee kunena pamoja nasi katika jina la Yesu aliye Bwana na Mwokozi wetu.
Makofi kwa Kuit.
Hamjambo. Nilikuwa niongeza sana lakini nimeambia niongeza hii. But I have to be ready always to speak the youngsters. Kwa majina ni Joshua Kuit. Kwetu ni Kitale. Mimi ni mwanafunzi kule India. Nimekuwa miaka 13 India. 08 30th September hadi 26th November last year nilikuja. The last time nilikuwa Kenya ilikuwa 2014 and then New Zealand. So anyway, I'm so happy to be here. Pastor Grace tulijuana online mbele tulikutana mara ya kwanza. I think mwaka mmoja imeisha. Nimeona sehemu hapa hivi. Tulijuana online kwa Facebook. Nimesikia jina ndio nikamuona. So the youngsters, itakuwa interactive session. Nimezoea kufunza. So nikiwaongelesha tu bila kuuliza maswali, nitakuwa najidanganya pia. Kwa marafiki wangu walioko nchi mbalimbali kama kule South Australia, Australia, kina Milili wakiwa Australia, wengine wakiwa Italy, wengine wakiwa Dubai, wengine wakiwa India, wengine wakiwa Doha, Qatar. Hao watu ambao wako pamoja kwa screen, majority of them sijakutana nao. Lakini wako na umoja. Social media tumeitumia vibaya kwa generation yetu, lakini wale wametumia kukutanisha watu. There are 4 things that are there. Kitu ya kwanza mtu anajiuliza, who am I? Hiyo ni swali ya kwanza. Wakati unapoamka asubuhi, ujiulize mimi ni nani? Na aim yangu katika maisha ni nini? Mimi nilipointroduciwa kanisani, apart from labda wazazi waliokuwa hivi na wengine hapa kidogo, niliingia kanisa mara ya kwanza nakumbuka 1986. 1986. Wakati nilifungua mambo ya kuwa kanisani 1989, I've never stepped out of church since then. But the new generation tunaingia kanisani, tunakuja tunanyakuliwa kanisani kwa sababu we love things that are easy. Ndani ya kanisa, Mungu aliyekuleta dunia hii anakujua kiwa kanisani. And I always tell the youth, let the prayer be the key of the day and the lock of the night. That was what my uncle taught me. Let the prayer be the key of the day and the lock of the night. Chemi ya maneno mambo ambayo nilisoma kwenye Biblia. Tulipewa option tukiwa high school. Tuchague CRE ama physics. Mimi nikasema niliweka ndani ya kanisa. Nachukua physics alafu nipeleke wapi? Kwa sababu life is too short. Life is too short. Sasa kile tunafikiri tutaishi kabisa. In the next 78 years. Remember about what we have done. In the next 78 years, 99% of us, 2100 at work. Imagine around 7 billion people duniani, around 99% hawatakuwa the year 2100. Jiulize leo itakuwa wapi? And that is why I always say one thing. Read the Bible. Kuna vitabu vimeandikwa, vitabu nyingi vimeandikwa, lakini the Holy Bible haijaisha utamu na haiwezi kuisha utamu. All the answers that you are looking for in life are found in the Holy Book. 2 chapters a day, 3 chapters a day. Utakuwa umaliza Biblia. Wangapi wamesoma Biblia kumaliza kwa wanafunzi? The whole Bible from kitabu cha Mwanzo hadi Ufunuo, Genesis to Revelation. Ndio mkono juu. Kama umesoma Biblia ukamaliza. Kwa hiyo hakuna hata mmoja. Set book mlipewa akasoma mkamaliza. Nikikuuliza about set book utaniambia story yote tuliyoiko. The descriptive writing that are in the set books will tell us everything. Mpaka kwa YouTube tunaona watu wana set books hizi Kenya, so that the youngsters can be able to go to the social media and watch it. What about the Bible? What about the Bible? Jifikirie leo. In your silent prayers, from today, I want one promise. Sio ngumu. Chapter 2 tu. Tusome tatu. 2. Kwa mwaka mmoja utakuwa kusoma Biblia. Ndio. Biblia sisi na ubiri wengine watakuja evangelist kwa wengi speed sana. Makanisa yako mengi. Nilirudi hapa nikapata makanisa yako mengi sana Kenya. Inaamuka leo kidogo wanasema nyumba ya Mungu kwa tena, wanaamka kidogo wanajua. They bring you the things of the world, wana mix na kanisa wanajua mnaingia. They tell you everything. Kwa sababu hujasoma Biblia, utakubali kila kitu. So I want you to promise me today, on this day, AIC Chebaiywo, it is my second time coming to this cruise. Last time to the video. Promise me one thing. You will be reading the Bible 2 chapters a day, so that you will be able to know the Bible and know your God, because your God is your guide. All the answers, all the temptations, maisha ambayo unapitia. Watu wanasema maisha ni ngumu. Mkimbilie kwake Yesu, na utajua kwamba maisha sio ngumu. I always tell one thing, that I live today because God woke me up in the morning. The birds of the air wana makao, lakini wanaamka wataimba asubuhi. Saa 11 wataimba, saa 10 wataimba, na wataondoka na wataenda kutafuta chakula na mapata. What about you? You struggle every day because you've forgotten the God that created you, and your answers are in the Bible. But we have gone astray because we have gone into the smoke screen of the computers, the internet, and the www. I'm not saying it's bad, but tumeenda mpaka hadi nilipokuja nikaona kanisani kidogo mtu amekaa hivi kidogo, ana drop down notifications, internet on, ameingia kwa WhatsApp, ameingia kwa Facebook, mubiri hapo mbele na ubiri. Yani unakuja tu a part-time Christian. I want you to be a full-time Christian and know your destiny, that God who's in heaven will take you far away. Kwa wanafunzi, wakati unaposoma mzazi ana struggle kukupeleka shule, the first thing you have to learn is communication skills. I'll go to the part of education kiasi kwa sababu communication skills. That is the first thing. There are 4 things I'll speak about. 1, CS. Number 1 is communication skills. Tunasema tunajua kila kitu, lakini baadaye utakuja kugundua ya kwamba haujui kila kitu. Kwa sababu nakumbuka wakati wanafunzi walikuwa na apply scholarship fulani ya India last month. Wanafunzi ananiambia I'm qualified, nimepita mtihani, I can qualify for the scholarship. Nitumie link. Wengine wanapewa namba ya simu wanakuandikia, nataka scholarship. You're a bachelor's degree student. Alafu naandikia mtu, wewe nani wapewa? Andikia huyo, mwambie atakusaidia scholarship. Lakini the first line, hakuna introduction, ungesema jina, wewe nani, unatoka wapi? Kwani kale communication skills zinaenda. Mtu introduce sio kwa ofisi ya mtu kumwambia nataka kazi. Utaingia ndani unaambia unataka kazi. So kwa wale wanafunzi around 700 walioniandikia, sikuwa na wajua kwa jina, lakini I'm so hearted because I was trained to be humble. Alitaka sana. Tulifunzwa kunyenyekea hadi saa hii. Nikiongea na mkubwa yote wangu naeka mikono juu. We were trained to be humble in life so that we go far away. So the youngsters learn the communication skills. The second thing is communication soft skills. The way you humble yourself in the church, unakuja kanisani, ubiri na ubiri, wanasema ni half time Christian, part time Christian. Unakaa kwa kidogo unasikia kwa church leo inapopo. Church inapopo. Unataka kuchomoka, uende unaenda wapi? On Sunday utakuja kanisani kufika saa 4 utaka kwenda. Mrahisisho kazi kidogo unakuja kanisani, wanasema nenda ile morning, nenda saa 7 morning kidogo tu wasa nenda sana. Where are you heading to? Remember God, because God will take you places. For them to be abroad there in Australia, in Italy, in Canada, in USA, in Mexico, in India, in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, in Qatar, wherever they are, they started Kalenjin Global Church because they realized one thing, that utapewa kila kitu dunia yote, hata leo uwape dunia yako shaka yote yako, utafanya nini? Kumbukeni ufalme wa mbinguni, hiyo yote ndio utapewa. Niliona mzazi wetu Pastor John kimetoa Bible. Nakumbuka when I was looking at his songs, nilikaa kwa kazini yangu, that was in 1998 for Christmas. Nilikuwa naangalia Pastor John kimetoa. So sio kulikuwa na masidizi ndio hapo nachukua na ingiza kwa DVD player na angalia John kimetoa. 1998 hadi leo nimeona mara ya kwanza. So I can tell you one thing, I have learned a lot from Pastor Kimeto's songs. Learn to praise the Lord every time. Kwa sababu zaidi wimbo ambazo zinaimbwa kwa gari, nyumbani, kwa TV, zinatoka nchi moja kule West Africa. Wimbo tatu the top 3 music in Kenya, from Kenya. Yatoka kule West Africa. Tumeenda kule tukaangalia wimbo za dunia tumezipenda zaidi, tumesave kila kitu. Because we have become number 3, communication slaves. The first one was communication skills. Then soft communication skills equal to communication skills. We have become communication slaves. Whatever we get from the world, we keep it. Whatever we get from the church, we chuck it out. We have lost a sense of direction. But I want to add to the youngsters of today, come back to the church. Go back to that old country church. Usikuje university alafu kesho unasema ni nyumbani hiyo kanisa ya Mungu sasa hiyo kanisa inakuwa hakuna youth, hakuna nini. You are supposed to be the pillar of that old country church. I travel around since nimekuja. Na usema kutravel ni big guy. Kutravel is big guy. Anasema kutravel ni big guy. I'll teach you the tricks. Number 4, common sense. Common sense. Common sense is very important. Wakati nimekuja kanisani, nimetoka nyumbani nikaoga nikakuja nikasema nitakuja ndani ya kanisa nikae chini nisikize mhubiri. Fika kanisani kwa sababu nime drop down notification kwa smartphone. The smartphones have become more smarter than us. So naangalia kama nimesema leo niko base 20 out. Tunakaa kidogo kanisa bado ndio unafunga Biblia, hata ukija na Biblia ufungua unatoka unachomoka unaenda. Satan has pulled you out of church because the common sense of coming to the purpose. What is my purpose in life? So that I can change. I was a sinner. I come because I want to gain more in the church. Yo, tunaenda Zoom live, so unasikiza kidogo na izima, unaenda secular music pale. Let me tell you one thing. God will punish you. Usikuwe yule Mkristo nusu. Kwa Mkristo. Sisi ndio ndani, ama sinner. But one thing I learned, every time I visit a church, ni kama ile miti ambayo umepanda, usikomwagia maji haitamea. So every time you go to the church, you are renewed spiritually. And God will bless you. So don't miss going to the church so that you can be renewed spiritually and be able to learn that I am just a passenger of this journey. The prophets came and went. I will be here and I will go. But I will go and I will make sure that I teach others what the Bible teaches us. And what the Bible teaches us, I have to read and learn from the Bible. Let the Bible be my notebook. People get my knowledge. That it is a sin everything. I can tell you that I have a testimony for that. You bag ikapo, kuna bag news ikapo mbele. Kuna Biblia ikapo, hiyo Biblia ilikuwa 2012. Ni Biblia kwa almost 3 pages. Nimekuza mboga kuna zile kando ya bag. Wakapaka watu walikuja. Wakakuja wakasimama wakaniambia nimebeba vitu vingi sana nimeiba. Nikasoma kama nikajua tukumana. Sasa kuna siku moja nilikuwa na mkono, siku ya pili ni hii ilikuwa nyingine nilikuwa na passport mbili, nilikuwa na ID, nilikuwa na certificate zangu zote, nilikuwa na laptop. Nikajua tukumana. Nikamwambia Mungu nisaidie leo. Nisaidie. Boda moja akashuka, wapili akashuka, akatupa nguvu. Nikaeka. Kajaribu kunishika nikamshika nikaenda naye chini. Ule mwingine apika kuja akanipiga swift. Si nikaanguka. Ule watatu kwa pikipiki na kisha akataka kuja. Nikarudi nyuma nikaomba huyo mwingine. So ule mwingine akapata simu. Nasikia watu wanapigana ngeta na maneno kila kitu. Mimi niliposimama hata Biblia siwachi na sitaacha, nitakuwa ninasoma. Just imagine, hiyo Bible ilisaidia mimi. Ile vitu yote nilikuwa hapo ilisaidia nilikuwa kwa mkono. Hata hiyo si nilikuwa na dhambi zangu mingi sana. Okay? Hiyo kamera ilikuwa kwa baba. Hawa jamaa wangejua kama kuna hii kamera kwa baba. Kamera ni 154,000. Hiyo kamera ilibaki. Passport imeenda mbili, replace passport 12,000 after negotiation. So nasema kitu moja. Biblia tulipewa tukapewa golden bells, tunaenda shule, unapata Christians. Kwa sababu unataka kusikiza wenzako. Sikiza sauti ya manabii katika Biblia na Mungu atakuongoza. Ukitumia common sense, I traveled around the churches. November wakati nilikuja nikienda kwa kanisa Nairobi, mimi nikaulizwa swali moja kwa kanisa CCD Nairobi. Nikamwambia kanisa lako ni gani? Nikamwambia sina kanisa sasa. Why can you part of us? Nikamwambia makanisa yote duniani ni yangu. And I have purpose in my life. Sijui kama nitafikisha makanisa elfu moja. I don't repeat churches. Nienda mara moja. Nikatoka Nairobi nimeenda Kajiado nimeenda Machakos Nairobi nimeenda Kitale Eldoret. Moi University nimeenda kanisa. Kutoka hapo hivyo nimecross kwa February niko Makerere University kanisani. Kutoka hapo nimeenda Bugema University kanisani mwezi wa 5 Uganda. Nimetoka hapo nimeenda Kampala University. Nimetoka hapo nimerudi. Leo niko kanisa ya Chebaiywo. I want to tell you. Nilikuwa najaribu kupiga hesabu mtu akaniambia, uko na pesa mingi na travel, but I said one thing. They use that common sense and know that you can visit the church and it can be very cheap. You know, I travel without having an account. Sina account, sijafungua account. Nakumbuka pale ya wasanda niliambia kitanda, sifungua account, kama sitaji account. Pesa natoa, nikamwambia pesa is not everything. I praise God every day. The way God gives the birds of the air a home and they give food to them. So the same God of Israelites, the same God that led the children of Israel from Egypt, Missouri, had Canaan, that same Lord will lead me through my life. Imagine, kutoka Eldoret mpaka Kampala ni 1,000. Kutoka Eldoret town, uchukue taksi usiku, uende mpaka Soya ni 1,000. Wapi bei gani hapo? Kama sio common sense. Na nikaongeza marafiki kidogo, maeneo ya Uganda, akaniambia kuna magari mpya tunaondoa kwa kanisa. Petro Charles Makerere, nikamwambia ile kanisa Makerere. Nataka niongeze wanafunzi wa Makerere niwaambie, God is good all the time, that he will lead you from down there, from your village where you come from, to higher places. You meet big people, you meet people you want to meet. But above all, you have to travel through life to meet the God, your God that created you. The God, your God that gave you good health, that you're sitting here today. Remember, God will always guide you. As in yangu nilivyokuwa kaniambia, kuna gari inaitwa unit. Unit ni gari mpya imenunuliwa kutoka Japan, kutoka Singapore, inashuka Mombasa, inataka Eldoret kila siku. Ina namba nyingine kama na mkono hiyo. Ukipanda gari unapata 500. Ongea na driver mzuri. Akikuja hapo kwa petrol pump. Tena na bag zangu nenda hapo. Naongea na driver, I'm going to Kampala, Uganda. Nakwambia sebo. How much do you have sebo? Namwambia I have 500 Kenyan shillings. How much in Uganda? Namwambia what by that. Nakwambia that is too less. What are you going to do in Uganda? I'm going to a church. I want to talk to the youngsters in the church. I want to tell them, welcome is sitting ndani ya kanisa. Nakwambia it's okay, you go to the church, come with me. Unaenda kufika mpakani, tunasema cross the border. It is not difficult to cross the borders. Tunasikia leo kinaitwa visa ni ngumu sana. Sio ngumu. Mungu akiwa na wewe, hiyo visa utapata. Watu wanasema, oh, visa imesema ni ngumu sana. Siwezi pata. Wanafungia na kwambia nitakuorganize na kusaidia. Usifanye mzazi wako auze shamba. Talk to Sister Grace. Talk to Hosea. Talk to all of them that are here. They will teach you. And when you use your common sense by reaching out to them, and I want you to do one thing. For those who have smartphones, from today you will join Zoom chat. Na kwamba, unaweza ni 2 hours. Unaweza kwa mahali unaweka earphones hata kwa ofisi na ingia ndani ya kanisa na it is called KBC. Kwa Zoom, utaingia, you interact with them, they are so nice people. So you interact with them, let us preach to our youngsters, because we have to reach out to them, the lost generation that find pleasure in alcohol. I have never taken alcohol in my life, and I say that God laid the foundation in me in 1986 until today I have never tested alcohol or any drug. I'm a sinner, yes, but I will never be swayed by my group, peer group pressure. Tunaona pombe. Alafu anaanza kuimba mawimbo mbalimbali. Sasa kwa TV nilifika nikasikia mtu kazi yangu anaimba leta pombe. Nikamwambia mnabii mlisikia wapi? Hata si anko unaona kwa TV siko. The television has become a smoke screen. I've been doing journalism and mass communication for 13 years. I can tell you one thing. Hata report ya kwangu na control watu wasione. I'll teach them the ways of the Lord. When you are still young, your young brother, your young sister, make sure that you teach them the ways of the Lord. Even if you are a sinner, teach them. They will never depart when they grow up. Come back to the church. Go to that all-country church so that you know the goodness of God. And the last thing, common sense, communication skills. Yes. Ya mwisho ni communication science. Communication science. Kwa hiyo kusoma Biblia nikuja nikwambia kwamba Methuselah lived for 968 years. Is it true? Methuselah of the Bible is the only man who lived 968 years. Is it true or false? False. Alishi miaka ngapi? 969 years. Now, because you have purpose in your heart that you will read the Bible and be able to learn from the Bible, other things itakuja. Now, when you have Biblia, utakuwa communication stance. When Sister Grace will be preaching, utakuwa ukifungua Biblia unasoma. And in finding pleasure in the church, you will find out that God, your God, will always guide you. I think my time is up, right? Yes, my time is up. I'll still be here until tomorrow. We'll meet and we'll talk to each other. We'll interact. And I will take you to that church. I want your Zoom, your Catholic Global Church. I want it to expand. So I'll hand over the microphone, but the reminder is this. Let the prayer be the key of the day and the lock of the night always. Come back to the church. Something.
As we continue, let me, without wasting much time, welcome Tinkineto to present, and we will immediately after welcome Pastor Osea, who in turn will welcome the Diaspora team, and they will in turn welcome Professor Paul, who will continue from there. Welcome, Tinkineto. We can stand, please, and sing with them. We can stand and sing with them, so that when we get to the Diaspora team will take over. Pastor Osea, I believe you are getting ready.
Asante.
Jesus belongs to me and I belong to Jesus. That is indeed good. We belong to Jesus. Pastor Sam, I believe you can hear me.
Nakupata mchungaji, natumai Manuela. Manuela. Asante sana Manuela, uniambie or poet kindly notify me kama nasikika, I can go ahead. Asante sana mchungaji Pastor Ezra, mchungaji wa kanisa la AIC Chebaiywo, pia wachungaji walio mahali pale, mchungaji Pastor Chris na pia my mentor Daktari David Kirwatarus, nimemuona pale, nimeona wasee wa kanisa, viongozi wote wa kanisa, naona pia mzee hapo, mzee anajulikana kwa China, baba China ile ya Harisa kwa mzee Kipchai, nimemuona akiwa pale na pia mzee Ndolo wasee ambaye ni wasee wa kanisa, na pia nimeona my dad mzee Kansala Tirop akiwa pale ameweza kuja kuchangamka na vijana, nimewaona pia na wakina mama. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Salamia jirani yako aliye karibu nawe, uambie Hosea anakusalamia kwa jina la Yesu. Salamia jirani yako aliye karibu nawe, uambie Hosea anakusalamia kwa jina la Yesu. Nimefurahi kwa mali hapa siku ya leo mchungaji, tumeshukuru sana tunapopata nafasi kuja nyumbani na kuweza kuongea na watu nyumbani pale na kuona wanachikaza katika maisha. Tumeweza kuingia hapa na kikundi kubwa ya Diaspora ambao wa kwanza wameweza kutangulia kuongea. Joshua Poit tuliweza kupatana mtandao, tujaweza kuonana, lakini Poit ameweza kufanya kazi kubwa sana ya kusaidia wanafunzi kuelekea upande wa India kwa maneno ya scholarship. Vijana ambao kila wakati mnatuliza unafanya nini ili uende ng'ambo, leo mko na golden opportunity kuonana na Poit moja kwa moja, ataweza kuwasaidia na kuwaelekeza na opportunities yenye inaweza patikana kwa upande wa Southern Asia, kwa sababu yeye ameweza kukaa pale miaka nyingi. Asante sana, sina maneno mengi. Leo ni siku ya vijana ambao wanichui, naitwa Kiprono Hosea aba Cap Christopher pale Tuluamwetuny, lakini maisha yangu niliweza kuanzia hapo. Sisi ni waanzilishi wa Roman Primary School, miaka ile setu tuliweza kuanzia hapo, na pia nilifunzwa na mwalimu Wikima. Na kuna swali Wikima aliwahi kuuliza kwa darasa, akasema nani ni rais wa Kenya, na nikasema Museveni. Akaniweka kofi ingine ambao niliona stars hiyo miaka, na hadi leo sijaweza kusahau. Asante sana mwalimu, hiyo kofi ni moja ya mambo ambayo imenisaidia katika maisha. Sitaweza kuongea mengi leo, tumebarikiwa kuwa na wageni Prata Kilimo, tumeshukuru sana. Tulipo kukaribisha nikaposti kwa mtandao na nikapata watu wengi, mmoja wao anaitwa Tirop ambaye tunakaa hapa Adelaide, anasema mliweza kuonana pale Kipshangui High School na tuko upande wa Australia, na pia vijana wengi ambao wako Australia anasema mliweza kupatana ukihubiri ama kueneza neno la Mungu. Asante sana Kilimo kwa neno hiyo, watu wengi wameshuhudia na tumeweza kubarikiwa. Watu ambao tuko mahali hapa, tuko na Aki anatoka upande wa Sydney, Australia. Ningependa niwaombe kwa baadaye wataweza kusalamia. Ningependa tu niende moja kwa moja. Pia tuko na mchungaji Reverend Lele, tuko na mchungaji Pastor Moses, tuko na pia wa Prudence Daktari all the way from Italy ameweza kuungana nasi. Tuko na mwalimu Sugut kutoka upande wa Albury, upande wa Sydney, Australia. Tuko na pia kijana one of the youths wa Nduveneti anajulikana kama Ian Kipchumba Sulu, tuko upande wa Adelaide, ameweza kuungana pamoja nasi, na pia Tirob Dennis kutoka upande wa Kapsruriet, lakini kwa sasa ako upande wa Queensland, Australia. Na pia tuko na kuna mtu ambao wengi sana mwaso kutoka upande huo wa Chebaiywo, lakini ningependa kuwaomba turuhusu profesa ambaye atakuja kuongelea mambo ambayo imekuwa changamoto kwa sisi vijana, maneno ya mental health na what next kwa maisha. Profesa, vijana wengi wameweza kupoteza matumaini kwa maisha. Wengi wao wamesoma, hakuna kazi. Mtu anaingia ndoa, hakuna ya kulisha watoto. Miaka zinaenda, imekuwa challenge. Siku hizi wasee wanatoka nyumbani na hawarudi tena. Kuna changamoto nyingi sana kwa ground, profesa. Na pia profesa ni mmoja wa kutoka maeneo za upande huo wetu, na pia kwa miaka 20 alipanda ndege akaelekea upande wa US ile ya kwenda kutafuta greener pastures. Pia atatuambia harakati ya kutafuta aliweza kufanya nini na nini opportunities ambao vijana wengi ambao wamekaa hapo kanisani wanaweza kupata kwa maeneo ya US, na pia changamoto ambayo inaweza kuja nazo. Profesa, karibu profesa, ongea na watu wa ground. You are free to use any language you want to use. Profesa ako upande wa Dallas, Texas. So from Adelaide, South Australia to Dallas, Texas. Professor.
Thank you so much, Hosea. I want to make sure nasikika vizuri nyumbani. Can everybody wave if they can hear me? Okay, thank you. That means mnanisikia vizuri. Thank you. My apologies, tulichelewa kidogo. Tulikosea saa na Hosea Kiprono. I thought it was going to be my time at 5, it's supposed to be at 4. So he's in the US, Nico, Dallas, Texas. It is 5:30 in the morning. So watu wajaamka pande hii, wadu malala, and it's Saturday morning. And so let me introduce myself. As you have been told, I'll speak mostly in English, alafu kidogo nitaongeza Kinandi na Kiswahili. Nico, Dallas, Texas. My name is Sam Bore. Nyumbani ni Sochoi, Lesos. So I'm not too far from where you guys are. I'm very familiar with the place. I'm familiar with Chebaiywo very well, Kesses, Mo University, Cheptiret area. And so I'm one of you, and I'm a son of home, of Lesos, so I know very well the whole place. But I've been in the US for the last 23 years now. I came here in 1999, and I've stayed in Dallas most of those years. And I am a professor of counseling, and I train counselors here. I train those who are going to be marriage and family counselors. I train school counselors. And so, and any other counselors who are going to work with the community. So my job is to train the counselors, and I'm a counselor myself. I'm a therapist, licensed in the state of Texas. So apart from teaching, I also run a private practice where I see a lot of people. So that is in a nutshell who I am. Hosea invited me. I don't know how much time we have. I think about an hour. So what I want to do today, and then I'll explain later on if you have any questions about coming here and many other things, I'll open the floor for questions. But I wanted to go back today and help us. I listened to the last speaker who was speaking. I think that was Kilimo, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I could be wrong. And is that true, Hosea? The last speaker was speaking.
Joshua Boyd.
I was impressed with his testimony on what he has done and where he has been, and not just where he has been. What impressed me the most was his conviction and his assurance that he can do what he chooses to do because he trusts that God will help him. So I hope that was not lost in everybody who listened to what he talked about. So don't get lost in many other things. I want you to get a lot of nuggets. When at the end of the day today, I hope that each one of you will go home saying, I took this thing from this meeting. All of you will not take the same thing. So, and I don't want to go back on what has been said because I was not there most of the time, but I want to believe that by coming today, the time you'll have spent here will make sense and will be beneficial in many ways to you. So allow me to, in a very short time, maybe about 40 minutes, I will go through what I want to call, I've titled my talk to something, I want to call it choices. And I call it choices because what I want you to get at the end of this is that it is not the economy that will dictate who I become. It is not where I live in the world that will dictate who I become. It is not the family that I was born into that will dictate who I become. It is not many things outside of me. I want to get to a point where I know that if it is to be, it depends on me. I'll say that again. I want you to take this home. If anything has to be, it depends on me. If it depends on other people, you will struggle. But if you get to a point where you can understand that things must depend on me, then I have the license, I have the power to choose what I want to do in this life. And so I want to look at 4 areas for you this afternoon. The first area I want to look at is, what is the secret of success in this life? What do I do to get what I want? And number 2, I'll look at mental health. How does my mental health help me get what I want in this life? And then I'll talk about stress, and I'll talk about coping mechanisms. So let's begin and let's go back to choices. Somebody said very well that we do not choose success. We do not choose failure either. However, success and failure are consequences of our choices. This is to say that as a human being, I am free up to the point of choice. Once I've made my choice, the choice will control the chooser. So let me break it down some more. The boy talked about, I liked his testimony. He said, by God's grace, he has not tested alcohol. I like that, boy. You join one of the few. I'm one of those who has not tested a drop in life. And that is part of why I am where I am right now. And the people that are listening today, young people, if you are there, if you have not come across alcohol, please do not go that direction. There are 3 things that you must avoid in this life if you're going to be successful. 1, avoid alcohol as much as you can. It will make a difference in your life. Avoid drugs. There's so much drugs right now in the world. Number 3, avoid the wrong friends. If you avoid those 3 things, it does not matter what you'll be doing. Whether you will be at home as a farmer, you'll be successful. Whether you will be working in an office, you'll be successful. If you'll be outside the country, you'll be successful. We have so many young people that came to the US, Australia, UK, other parts of the world. But all they did was to come for further drinking, not further studies. And so many of them, their lives have gone the wrong way. So what Boyd said, I want to borrow from that. When somebody is drinking, they are free up to the point when they choose to drink. Once they drink, they cannot choose not to get drunk. But they were free to stop at the point of taking the drink. This is why we say, I am free up to the point of choice. So when they get drunk and mess up, that is a consequence of the choice they made. Every choice that we have in life has a consequence that is hidden inside the choice. We don't see the consequence. We only see the choice that we are making. But inside the choice is a consequence that we do not see. And that consequence is either your success, your failure, or what you want. But most of us do not understand that we have the power to choose. And therefore, I am free up to the point of choice. Once I make the choice to drink, the alcohol or the drink will control me as the person who chose the alcohol. I cannot choose not to get drunk or to get drunk once I've drunk, because the choice must follow, the consequence must follow the choice I've made. Let me use another example here. If I choose to jump into the swimming pool, if I choose to jump into a river, I choose to get wet. I cannot jump into the Kesses lake that you have. There's a lake in Kesses. I cannot choose to jump into it and then complain that why am I wet? Because when I made the choice to jump into the lake, I made the choice to be wet. Many times we do not stop to ask, what is the consequence of my choice? That is why I want to say, whatever comes to me depends on the choice that I have made myself. So what am I saying? Number one, I am saying that the choices that I make, I have the power to make those choices. And I do not choose the outcome or the consequence. It comes with the choice as a package. Choices, the consequence go moita teta. Ngi kweri teta ikwerita imoita. Me kweri teta agieche kweri moita. So kumeje itebile tinye moita tanye amale anan matinye. Ngot ko tinye moita teta inaile nebo yale teta ikwerita imoita nye. Most of us what choices are you making? And do you understand that that choice has to have a consequence that will follow it? You cannot choose that consequence. So for us to be able to make those choices as young people, I want you to understand, who am I? As I'm making these choices, have I stopped? Am I just the daughter or the son of my dad and my mom? Am I just somebody who comes from Chebaiywo or Kesses or Cheptire or Lesotho or Sochoi? Have I stopped and asked the question, who am I? And have I thought about how I will navigate through life, or I'm just waiting for other people to help me navigate through it? Why is that important? Every morning in life, when a lion in Masai Mara wakes up, the lion knows that for the lion to eat that day, it must run faster than the gazelle or an antelope. When an antelope wakes up every day in Masai Mara, the antelope understands, for me to make it home this evening, I must run faster than the lion. Both of them are right, but it depends on the lion to get food. It depends on the gazelle and the antelope to get its food. The difference is because the antelope must understand that I am an antelope. I am an antelope, but I've been made to be food for the lion. The lion must understand I'm a lion and I've been made to eat flesh and I have to look for it. And therefore, the success of the lion and the success of the antelope depends on their speed. They must first of all understand themselves. If the antelope makes the mistake of thinking that the lion, it's the lion, and therefore it doesn't have to run, in that evening in the Masai Mara. Many times what we are struggling with ourselves as young people, which I want you to understand, is that you have to understand, who am I? Now, let me tell you who you are as you define it beyond who you are today. Right now, you're growing up in the 21st century when you are not competing only with the youth who are in Eldoret, the youth who are in Rift Valley, the youth who are in Nairobi, who are in Kenya. You in this generation as a young person, you're competing with the whole world. We have people who are in Australia, but they're drawing a check from Kenya. We have our friends who are here in the US, but they work in South Africa. All they need is a laptop. All they need is to have an internet. That's all they need. This is who you are in this 21st century. Why am I saying this? We can be lost thinking that we are competing with the people just around our village. The village is no longer there in the 21st century. The global village is what we have. The whole world is the village where you come from. And so as you are home today, and sometimes you are home saying, oh, a child your age in Korea is getting a job in Nairobi because he has the skills or she has the skills that somebody in Nairobi needs them. It's a good time to be young in the world because the opportunities are no longer just in your village or your country, but they're everywhere around the world. But you must choose to say, who am I? And understand what is it that the world needs? What skills are needed for me today as a young person? I hear a lot of young people saying, I cannot succeed until I go to Australia, until I go to the US, until I go to India. Yes, we want young people to come, but let me tell you, it doesn't matter where you are, you can get a job anywhere because of your skills. You must first of all ask the question, what skills do I have? What skills are needed? That is defining who you are at this time. Every generation survives because of what is valuable for them at their own time. And so this is your time. You first of all must understand what is it that is needed of me. Am I an antelope? Am I a lion? And if I want to be a lion, what skills does the lion need so that I can be employed? There are so many opportunities in the world today, but understand who you are. You make that choice. There's a bigger deal that we struggle with back home everywhere, not back home only, even here. We think that people must help us to get to where we are going. Yes, they can help you. But before they help you, you must first of all, if you come to me and you are asking me, I want to come to the US, and maybe the position that I have is somebody, maybe I have a scholarship for athletics, for people who are running, and you cannot run. The scholarship cannot come to you. But you can come to me and I ask, what did you get in your high school? Or maybe I did not make it very well. So before anybody helps you as a young person today, I want you to understand that you must first of all make sure that you have taken care of the choice, that I've made the choice to be ready for what the world wants of me today. If you do not have the skills and the job is there, you cannot get that job. So let's go back again. Young people, I know this is a young people's seminar or a meeting. Young people, you have all that it takes for you to be successful. I like what Boyd said again. Many times in your church, you have heard this being said, that the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. What they did not say the God of Isaac's grandfather or Jacob's grandfather, that would be Abraham. They didn't say that because each one of them at some point had to make sure that that God was their God as well. And therefore, for young people, I want you to say, if your name is Lillian, if your name is Osea, if your name is Joel, I want you to say, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, and Lillian. That God must belong to you if you are going to benefit from him. You cannot benefit from somebody else's God that you have not taken into account to be your God. And that is important for us as well when we go into the skills that we have, to say, I want to make sure that I know who I am and what I can do for the world. Many times, one of the presidents in this country, I think it was Kennedy, asked Americans, and he told Americans, ask not what America can do for you. ask what you can do for America. I want to challenge the young people who are listening today. Ask not what your village can do for you. Ask not what your parents can do for you. Ask, what can I do for this generation? What can I do for my village? It's not true that everybody will leave their country and go outside. Many people will remain in their country, but while in your country, while in your village, I want you to say, what is it that I can do myself? What can I do for my church? What can I do for my people? What can I do for myself? Not only waiting for other people to do things for you, but making sure that you've done those things yourself. And therefore, if I'm going to begin to understand that my choices define my success, and the consequences of those choices is what I'm looking for. And every morning when I wake up, I ask the question, do I understand the consequence of this choice that I'm making or not? I stop before I make it. I'm not asking that you be scared of making choices. I'm asking that you be careful, not scared. And you be intentional, not scared. What will it take for you to be what I'm saying right now? Number one, I want you young people to first of all believe in yourself. Believe in themselves. If every time you can do this, can I do it? They cannot get anywhere. So let me put this point to you, and I want you can write it down. What matters the most in this life is how you see yourself. I can believe in you. I can see you as a very, somebody who has potential. But unless you see yourself right, you cannot go anywhere. Why? Because nobody makes the choices for you. You are the one who makes those choices. So why is that important for you to believe in yourself? Number one, any young man who is sitting here today, I want you to understand this, that you are so unique. There is no one else like you. You are it. Amaje Yangeile ni Lillian ni anango Osea ni anango Samuel ni anango Emmanuel ni anango Ngoni. I am it. I am well. I am Megaya where am I? Before we begin at that point, young people, we will struggle regardless of where we are. We can be in Australia, we can be in the US, we can be in Uganda. It doesn't matter at all. Until we have understood that I'm unique. And let me even mess it up for you a little bit. I cannot control what others are doing, but by God's grace, I will drive this car. If this person was a car, I am the driver of this car. You can drive other vehicles. Why is that important? Because only when we know who we are and we believe in ourselves can we make the success we are looking for, or can we achieve the success we are looking for. So now believe in yourself. Why? Because you are unique. No one else is like you. I like to see, whenever I go around, I like nature a lot. And I like to see the eagles when they are flying. In this country, the eagle, Americans, it's their emblem. And I like to watch the eagles, and they fly so high. They don't come down below here to mess with anything that other people are messing with. But sometimes I go to the pond or the lake, and I see the ducks. And the ducks are just down here, and they're ducking, and they're eating mud and doing a lot of things down on the ground. And I ask the question, as a young person, have you sat down and said, do I choose to be an eagle, or do I choose to be a duck? We want to behave like ducks, but we want the benefits of eagles. Mami vetu the terrenia duck, but lean to soar up there where the oxygen is fresh. Only the eagles do that. But you must decide who you are before you get to that point. You cannot be who your parents are. It doesn't matter what family you come from. You have to come to the point as a young person of saying, Aneni, I choose to get the consequence of my choices, but I choose right, and I choose to be an eagle in every way. When you've done that, this is what we want to be reminded. That, as somebody said, it is not the size of the dog. I want the meaning that Tiazi said, it is the size of the fight inside the dog. It is not the size of the dog. It is the size of the fight inside the dog. And I come to young people and I say, how much is your fight inside of you? Now, let me tell you what one of the philosophers said. I think it was either Plato or Socrates. I don't have that clearly right now. However, one person went to one of the philosophers, and they asked him, "Philosopher, what can I do to get what I want in life? What is the secret behind getting what I really want in life?" And I like what the philosopher said. The philosopher asked the man, "Go get me a bucket of water." I think at home you call it a pail. That is the pail that you take to school, the one you fetch water with, the 20 liters one, the open one. So the man went and brought it in, and the philosopher asked him, "Can you fill this bucket with water?" So the Maji was filled up in that thing. Once the water was full, the philosopher took the head of the man and dipped it inside the bucket of water. What do you think happened? If I was to take your head and put it inside the water and hold it down there, what will happen to you? Number one, you will not be breathing. And so you will try to breathe, but you are inside water. So as he was trying to get out, the philosopher continued to hold his head inside the water. The man fought and fought and fought and finally came out. I want you to listen to the answer that the philosopher gave the man. This is what he told him. The moment you want anything in life, as bad as you wanted air or you wanted to breathe inside the bucket of water, you will get it. Like I'm whining because I like to speak that language more. Kuyoge meje ibus ini begori. Amugango meje ko bus chizi ko ngonga ko mo bus ame ko tiarta ko bus ko mon ke leje pe tout nege match ki aga tolum sabemu kuyoge meje ibus inyoru. The challenge I have for you young people is that sometimes we are not sure of what we want. The moment you want it bad, if you want it enough, you will get it. I'll tell you a story. When I was in Form 1, and I was in Form 1 in the mid 80s, we were two boys. One of them is from Elred, I was from Lesotho. We were being monolized by the older boys. And one afternoon, I don't remember this, he told me when I went home, we went to hide ourselves in the bushes because these boys would send us to wash clothes for them and do all those things. When we went to the bushes to just hide and take our time away, my friend told me that I told him in Form 1, I told him I want to go to America when I'm done with school. I didn't even know where America was. And he told me he wanted to be a dairy farmer. That is about 38 years ago, if not almost 40 now, going to 40. Today, I'm in the US. Today, he's a successful dairy farmer. And we said this in Form 1. We didn't even know what it takes to be a dairy farmer. I didn't even know what it took to come to the US. But in my dreams, I said I wanted to go to the US, and it came to pass. Why? If you want it bad, you will get it. The problem is saying something else and wanting something else different. And so because of that, I want to tell you guys, you want to begin to believe in yourself. And young people, please dream, dream, dream. It is not what somebody has said before, the tragedy of this life is not that we do not achieve what we want, but the tragedy is to come to the end of life and realize that you did not have any dreams to begin with. I'd rather you have dreams and not get them than to not have dreams and realize you did not have any dreams at all. So young people, dream and be sure of what you want. So believe in yourself is point number one. What else will help you? I always struggle when I meet people with a poor attitude. People who, when they are told, can you do this? I don't know, I cannot do it. Most of the times what we say is, I cannot do it. I don't do that. That's not for me. No, that's a poor attitude. There are people that sometimes are told, can you start working as maybe an office secretary in the university? And I'll tell you stories that I know. And they're like, oh, that's not for me. I want something bigger than that. Because their attitude is the problem. The attitude is a lot of what you will get in this life. And so I come back again and I ask the question, what attitude do you choose? It's a choice that you make. That's why I say choices will make a difference. When you choose a good attitude, you choose to be somebody who can be influenced. You choose to be somebody who can be helped. You can listen to others. Bad attitude has a consequence of not listening to anyone. And so you will not listen to anybody. And therefore, your attitude makes a big difference. So I come back to you, young people, and I say, today, when you go home this evening, I want you to go inside your blanket and what is my attitude? What has my attitude been? It makes a difference to have a good attitude. And so, if you are going to make the right choices, you have to begin to go back and say, do I understand that I want to believe in myself and have the I can do it attitude? Somebody was given a job in a university in Kenya, and they began by being a secretary, actually. But seeing their attitude was like, I can do anything. I don't care what it is. Some people came to the university from the US who were visiting the US, and they found this lady who was very helpful and very outgoing. And they are like, oh, so, and she asked them, what do I do to come to the US? And right now she's in the US. Why? Because of a good attitude that she began with what she was doing. Number three, young people, before I go to something else, would be many people, and I'm glad that Pastor Kimeto is there. Pastor Kimeto sang one song that all of you need to listen to. When you are done, ask him to sing it for you before he goes home. And it sang a song about time. The Kimeto was very right. The other countries like the US and Australia are not rich because they are rich of resources. We are richer than them. The only reason why they are rich is because they manage and take care of their time. Now, young people, when the minutes are ticking, when the hour is ending, that is not the time that is going away. It is your life that is going away. So we look at the time and we say, it's 6 in the evening. 6 in the evening, it means 12 hours of your life has gone. Why do I say this? How do you use your time? When I come home, I ask them, what have you done the whole day? They have not done anything. They can be doing something at home. It doesn't matter what they are doing. Right now, you cannot buy nyanya, it's so expensive. Why? Because they have not told their time what to do. So young people who are here, I want to challenge you to tell your time what to do. My friends, before you go to bed, go and ask yourself, how does my day tomorrow look like? What time do I wake up? When do I do 1, 2, 3, 4 things? By the way, the young people who are here, this is why our girls are more successful than the boys. Because our girls at home, when they wake up in the morning, they know that they have to make chai. They have to wash dishes. they have to go to Mujobatinga, Mujajengwene. So their mind is already planning the time. Most of our young boys who are here, and I'm not getting on the young boys who are here, will go to send up with the women. Their minds are not using their time right. If you have to be successful, my friends, young people, I want you to begin to tell your time what your time should do. Plan your time very carefully. And after you've planned your time, the last thing I want to say about that point before I move on to mental health is, if you don't remember anything from this meeting, remember this: you are your own responsibility. Nobody else is your responsibility. You are your own responsibility. Mojigerane ile anene kwa responsibility na nyu. Are responsible mwenyewe for ane. Mama jawagan chitaga you're responsible. I choose that responsibility over me. Once you have done that, then you will be in a good place to be able to succeed in this life. Those are very easy nuggets and the secrets of life. The secret of life is understanding that my choices make who I am, but I don't want to give up. I know who I am. I have a good attitude. And finally, I'm responsible for myself. I don't wait for other people. I don't feel entitled that, oh, anyalulia muma lejo baba, anyalulia muma lejo mama, anyalulia muma amuta ose Australia. Maybe kimatinya baba, maybe kimatinya mama, but they've made it in life. Maybe anybody, like they have made it to different places. And therefore, it comes down to you to say, I know that I'm responsible for myself. What can I be doing? Amanda, Australia, our US, our university in Kenya. How was my day used today? Konyo runerane. Those kawa with the bag all those kawa with the bag, those kota and a skill that I can use somewhere else. We begin to understand that we can do things every day, however small they are. And once you have done that, young people, things will be a lot easier. But let me change gears and say, now, what is it in me that will help me achieve all these things? Mental health. Mental health has become a big deal right now. We see people committing suicide. We see people killing other people. We see people who are in a place where they're stressed out, they're depressed. So let me bring it home for you very briefly before I'm done. Number one is that mental health or good mental health is not just not being crazy. The problem is that we think mental health is mental illness. No. Our mental health, everybody needs a good mental health. So mental health, if we were to define it, is just not mental health means, am I in a good place where I can enjoy this life? I can make the right decisions. I'm feeling good in my mind. This is what mental health will help you if you have good mental health. So our mental health helps us in very many ways. It helps us in our emotions. It helps us in our social well-being. It will affect how we think, how we feel, and how we act. Mental health. What is your mental status in your mind? Are you stable in your mind? Are you able to make good choices we've talked about? Can you make good decisions? All that depends on your mental health. As human beings, we have 3 different areas that we can count on. Area number 1 we have is our physical body. We also have our spirituality. That's why you do that in church. But we have the mental faculty. We have the mind. Interestingly, the mind controls most of everything that we're doing. And so we want to make sure that our mental health, our minds are in a good place. When somebody is needing help, it is not because they are running mad. No, all of us need to work on our mental health to be in a good place where we can be able to help. When our mental health is correct, when we are okay mentally, then we are able to handle stress. We are able to relate to other people. We can make good choices. The stress levels are high. There's no money in the country. You go check in the country. Other many other things. Was told sometimes. So we are stressed out. If we are not in a good mental health, then we run into a lot of challenges because we cannot control our stress. So it is important to understand that our mental health is not that we just have to be sick in our minds for us to be struggling. Now, let's go back and say, what will affect my mental health so that I'm able to have the ability to make good choices, the ability to be able to have a good attitude? Number one, there are many things that will affect your mental health. Positive things, things that will support your mental health in a good way. Number one is how you see yourself. This is what we call self-esteem. How confident are you in yourself? Most people, they always have stress because they do not believe in themselves. Because they don't believe in themselves. They're confident. Why? Because they believe in themselves. So I go back to what I said earlier. A lot of our mental health begins with us having understanding who we are and having the confidence. It helps our minds. I am so and so. I am so and so. I can believe in myself. That's a big factor or a big point to support your mental health. Number two would be the support. You need support around yourself, the support of family, support of friends, but people who believe in you. And young people, you are only able to walk right now because your parents and the people that loved you helped you to know how to walk. When you are learning how to walk, you fell down, they picked you up. Because they believed in you. However, when we become to be teenagers, and they are the ones who actually helped you to reach where you are. So what I'm saying is, young people, go back. Do not forget. Is a good support for you. I'll tell you a very interesting story of the monarch butterfly. The monarch butterflies are not found in many places. There are very few places that they're found. What is interesting with the monarch butterfly, that butterfly is hatched on the butterfly on a tree, on a branch. Or when it grows up, the butterfly goes away. It can fly even about 1,000 kilometers away. It can go from Eldoret to Nairobi. But what is interesting with the butterfly is when it wants to have its own children, butterfly, it comes back to the same tree and the same branch. It travels back home to the same tree and the same branch. Why is that important? Because the butterfly understands that I need the support, and where I become successful is knowing where I came from and who I am. Your mental health will be very supported by the support of people that believe in you and have your interest. Not friends. Those are not the right friends. So you have to have a sense of belonging. It helps your mental health. And you have to have a lot of having to respect yourself. So these are things that if you're working with, stress doesn't affect you. However, there are things that affect in a negative way our mental health. Number one is when we have unresolved feelings. But we have not said and we don't want to talk about it. And I want this to go to even the older people who are in the church right now, especially the men. We do not talk about our feelings, and that affects our mental health because we are bothered inside. So if we do not share our feelings, we do not resolve our feelings, then we are angry. We go around when we are so we are so angry, we are so sad, we are so frustrated, we are so ashamed. All these things will affect our mental health. These are factors that will push us. They go off. Why am I saying this? I hope many of you will understand the language I'm using. Mi tuguk che image magmwaji ni jitol to sitinye ji awat baba no tap chemo nyo ala so se agule ga ero boy che ka janje bota baba ne ni ngori tino awat boy che joy jen jo mi to smi jo wa na to so ngala akwege ileji ngago kwaman sabetinyi ngago ima sabetinyi. Even me, I am a professor of counseling, but I have people that I talk to, and I will not be ashamed to tell you. One of my mentors, pastor, is Pastor Kimeto. He's sitting right there. You can ask him that. I call him from the US, I'm saying that to say you all need somebody to talk to. Ngiobe kioya saburiet nagara ko tiolo saburiet amumamiola mandoe yeto be kiawlo langitu ngola langin metine ngum amamiola mandoe ngale amumba mojiji ko tiolo metit ko tiolo sabet bi bariche an gebar chitale an nijunuga akorie. Friends who are listening right now, it is okay to talk to somebody. Number 2 of mental health again. Let me say this in English. It is okay not to be okay. Most of our people think we must be okay all the time. They think we must be successful. So we feel ashamed when we fail an exam in Form 4. It is okay. Somebody will fail an exam. Failing is not the problem. You can come back, you can go back and repeat. You can start somewhere and you walk in your way to be somebody else. So young people, don't always think you are nobody if failures come. And I will say this very candidly. It is not enough to know how to succeed. We need to know how to fail as well, because we will fail. When we fail, then we can know how to get out of it. Perfect. We struggle in this life and it affects our mental health. That is why in your life, when you go C and we're D+, it's not okay not to be okay. But if we have taught them that sometimes you will fail in this life. If there's anybody who has failed, I've made so many failures and I still have some more. But when I fail, I ask, what is the lesson of my failure? That's what I want young people to do. What is the lesson of this failure? How do I avoid the same thing next time? Not that it puts me down. No. This life is made of 2 things you can be sure of: success and failure, and they will come. But the issue that we have is I make the choice again to face my failures in a different way, and I choose the lessons from my failures. And so you want to avoid and resolve feelings. You want to avoid being worried all the time. I wonder, Warren, I am somebody who is, that is why I think the Boyd alluded to this earlier. We worry a lot, but if we were trusting of God, if I am 5 feet, 5'5", for example, and I want to be 5'7", I can worry forever. I will never be 5'7". So why am I saying this? Understand the things you can control and the things you cannot control. The ones you can control, control them and make use of them. The ones you cannot control, manage them. Just make sure they're not bothering you. Manage those things. So worry becomes a big issue for mental health. Being sad becomes a big issue. Anger is a big part of our mental health that affects our mental health in a bad way. And feeling shamed or ashamed and being guilty as well. Now, because we have to only go back and say, can I ask my God? That is why I want the God of Abraham, or the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, to also be the God of Hosea and Joshua. You can go to that God for forgiveness. For a long time. And so, what influences our mental health? What influences our mental health is our life experiences, what we've gone through. What influences our mental health also is the life changes, things that I've gone through. Sometimes traumatic issues. They affect us. Personal relationships. Young people who are here. TV, disappointed in. That should not be something to affect your mental health. Understand that those things will happen. When they happen, but go back and say, what choice do I make? Now, let me stop here and tell you one very important thing. There is one thing that no one can take away from you young people. Imuch kinda in jela kimakosa. That can happen. Imuch ibut an exam, that can happen. You can be fired from your job. You can be sent away. I have many people that I've had to talk to. You can be sent away by Americans or anybody else, Australia. Any of those things can happen. But here is the trick and here is a secret, young people. People can do all those things to you, but no one can take away your power to choose how you react to the situation. You can put me to jail, but you cannot choose my reaction in jail. I can get to jail and make different choices and react in a different way. Why am I saying that? It is not what is happening around you that is important. It is how you react to what is happening around you that is important. So make sure that you understand that you have the power of how you react. Nobody will take that away from you. So that when things are bad, I'm like, you can do that to me, but I have the power. I choose a different reaction. And I choose to know how to do things differently. You have that power. Nobody takes it away from you. That is why different people go to jail. Others come out when they are successful. They have changed their lives because they chose to react differently in jail. Another one comes out when they are bitter and they are criminals. You make the choice. That is why I say this life is nothing but choices. And thank God that the choices are made by you. By the way, this did not start today when we're going to school. We all forget it. That is why at the very beginning, when God made Adam and Eve, we lose it many times. When he did that, he gave them the secret of life, that you have the power to choose to stay in the garden or not to stay in the garden. But he told them, if you choose to eat, you choose to die. You choose to leave the garden. Realize what he said. God is the mastermind of all these things. He said, when you choose the choice, you also choose the consequence. But you cannot choose the choice and refuse to choose the consequence. That is why whenever something has happened, you'll know, can I have this? Like, no, it comes. So again, young people, nobody can take away the power that you have to make the choice or how you react to a situation. It belongs to you. And therefore, these things of personal relationships, trauma, and what we have talked about affects our mental health. When that happens, we get stressed out. And stress becomes something that gay. And this is how you know there's stress in your life. You cannot sleep for a long time, and sleep disappears. Many of people have headaches. Many people are isolated. They feel worthless. They are angry all the time. Many times those people are stressed out. And then they don't even want to do anything. Interest. They have no interest of activities. They are always worrying and in their minds and thinking. Many people begin to use a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs. Many people cannot concentrate. In many times, this is stress that is coming because we have issues in our minds that are not resolved. we are struggling at that point with a lot of issues. When we have gone with that, when that is happening for us, then we have anxiety. And anxiety is feeling fearful and worried. And most times you begin to worry about the future. What will happen to me? Will I survive with these things? I don't even have the money. You are so anxious. Many times, small anxiety is good. Like when you're going to do your exams, you feel a bit worried. It helps you to do well. But this anxiety that all the time you're so worried, you are so, you can't do anything. You are just anxious. Every time you're feeling like something wrong will happen. Again, because our mental health, we are struggling with a lot of things and we cannot go for help. So we need our mental health to be in a good place so that we can actually be able to do that. Many of us then, at that point, sometimes this moves to depression. And depression is even a more serious situation of mental health. When we have, depression itself is a mood disorder. And it affects, again, everything, how we think, how we act, how we feel. And many things can cause depression. However, you'd want to make sure that this has been checked by somebody who is a doctor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, because some depressions are inherited. They come from families, but not all of them. Many of them come from issues of stress, mental health, and many others are caused also by things that life becomes hard and we cannot come out. Drug abuse causes sometimes depression, chemical substance, alcohol sometimes, conflict. Whenever we are not resolving the issues of anger, the issues of relationships, sometimes can lead us to depression. And it can damage a lot of things that we're dealing with. So how do we know that we are depressed? This one, more than being stressed out, people become a lot of intense sadness. A lot of intense worthlessness. We don't feel like we are worthy anything. We are nothing. We become helpless. We become hopeless. And then most of the times, these people have lost hope. We lose hope in life. For men mostly, by the way, when they are depressed, they become hostile and they become angry and they become aggressive for most men. When most women are depressed, they become mostly sad and worthless. They feel worthless. So these are things that you know that things are not going right. When this happens, most times the reaction is what you know. We have suicide, we have violence, we have people doing the wrong things, we have alcohol, we have drugs. Most times people are struggling with these things. And so the bigger issue that we're dealing with is that when we see these things, young people, most of young people are stressed out right now. When we see these things, let's understand that this person could be crying out for help, or we need to pay attention to what's going on. The church, when these things are going on, make time to talk to somebody, reach out, have counselors who are trained, who can reach out to these people, and then begin to bring them back to say, we see there's something going on that we need to get help with. It's very important. But then, what do we do if these things happen, what do we do to help ourselves? Very interesting. A few things that I'll say. I know my time is running out. A few things that are very interesting, and then I'll stop here and then ask questions, open for questions. Number one, have a balanced life. Balanced life means you balance things. Sometimes all we do is work. Sometimes all we do is sit and do nothing. Sometimes all we do is maybe go out and do nothing at all. Have a balanced life. Make sure that you have friends that you can trust. Make sure that you have work that you can do, that you don't have to be employed to have work. In fact, right now, I hope the education system in Kenya can change so that people are not going to school to get a job. I want us to go to school to come and do something, to begin something. We can begin many things. That's a different topic another day, Jose. We can begin something different, but have a balanced life. How balanced is your life? So we were made to interact with people. We were made to work. We were made to also be worshipers. Balance your life. Make sure that there is spirituality, there is God, there is church in your life. There is work in your life, whatever you're doing. Even if you're a watchman, you can be a successful watchman. Even if you're a cook, you can be a successful cook. It doesn't have to be this job for you to be successful. Let's redefine success and realize that we don't have to be this to be successful. All of us can be successful in different ways, but balance that life. Have spirituality, have God in it, have work in it, have people who matter, who can support you in it. That life becomes balanced. Number 2, have a routine. I'll say this again. Have a schedule. Pick your kejang kai gai pick your konge te ko men ko lo ene mutai. Nye te so te ko lagi ere rani. Ko ga onge te the rest of the world. At kai ko bangan betut yesterday. They wrote it down. Nge ko lagi nyeta sangabi ke mishi sangabi kene sangabi ke nge to se ke te ke kene rani. Ke lo nguma megene goi. Please have a schedule. It doesn't matter what you mean, but you a schedule, mobiru, I would power your mio, illegally, angeta mutasa, kumuna moja goro. Sakumuna moja, I was sal, kumuna billy, Amaja, someone by Bible in you, I got chimney out of be tooth and water and ran, so I had to pay to the Sakumuna billy, what we did about all I jago, some moja mi barabara, some billy, Ravagana, Satatu, what all in the Imparo Satano, your way. El Dre Ariak Tawege, Sasita, Majagai to Ganyam, Mutama, which you have been down. Plan your day. Sagu Sat Saga, Majaki to Yaktor when you anum gam logo get K. By the end of the day, you'll have done things. But when you do not plan the day, get over, I did town running. What have you done from 5 o'clock? And so it is important that have a routine. Pick a routine, have good mental health. Number 3, avoid alcohol, avoid drugs. I'll say this again. Pick a who are listening to me right now. If you choose to avoid alcohol, you'll be in a very different life. You will succeed. Even if you are going to be a watchman, and I'm going I know I have a different mental man, and I'll do it right. But only if you avoid alcohol. Number 4, make a coping mechanism, support. Have someone that you can talk to. I've talked about that already. Number 5, relaxation. Make time to relax. The church is a good place for this. Make sure there is time to go and sing at church. Make sure there is time to go and enjoy with friends. Connect with other people. That relax. Don't just do work and work and work. Find things to relax. Get for young people. Get soccer balls, net balls. It relaxes their minds. Not just being on the phone the whole day and watching things that they don't need to be watching. And then sleep enough. You need 6, 7 to 8 hours. That is healthy. Your mind needs it to relax. The last one I'll say there is important for you. Learn how to problem solve. What does that mean? When problems come, it's not time to go, hey, it is time to ask, how do we solve this problem? What can we do to make sure we solve the problem? We have to begin to solve problems so that they don't take us into committing suicide and killing ourselves. And finally, you can see a counselor or see somebody who can help you. Let me end by saying this, young people who are here and everybody else. I want you to go home today. By God's grace, I know who I am. And I can be whoever I decide to be. But you cannot be until you decide to be the person you decide to be. It is not up to my friends to make me who I am. It is not up to my family to make me who I am. I am responsible for myself. And I make the choice that I will always ask, what is the consequence of the choices I am making as a young person? I make that choice. And I ask the question, how much do you want to succeed? If you want it so bad, you will succeed. That is my message to you this morning. May God bless you. Back to you, Hosea.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. I'm a coffee professor. I would like to take this opportunity, Professor. If anyone has a question from the ground, you will take at least the first 3 questions, and then Professor will answer. What comedian any question? We're planning question. So Manuela and Boyd, you can unmute and coordinate that. You're a professor, it can take around of ages meeting, but we are so lucky to have you, professors. One of us, you have sacrificed your time, and if anyone got comedian any question, this is an opportunity to engage a professor one-on-one. Prof, this is one of the question you find, like I used to drive motorbike. Before nikuja Australia, but you can still, how can you differentiate doing being in a comfort zone? You can find someone come but it is for long. How can you say that me a comfort zone or me what you like? How can you differentiate? And when you still find, maybe you can find my friends, they are still driving motorbike, and maybe they love driving motorbike. Anyone on our area, any question, immediately Sukwans and Professor. Yeah, all of them.
Answer the one you're talking about very quickly, Osea. Very good question. Yeah. We have to make the distinction, you're right, between comfort zone and what I like to do. Now, our lives are never meant to be the same. If you like to drive the motorbike, then your life is meant to increase and change. So what you want to do when you get into anything, or you want to ask yourself, is this all I can be, or I can always be better than I am today? We get into a comfort zone when we compare ourselves to other people. But we succeed and move up and change our lives when we compare ourselves to ourselves. This is what I mean by that. If in my mind, I know that I want to be better than I was yesterday. So when I was driving a motorbike yesterday, I strive to own many motorbikes. So I'm not staying in the comfort zone where I am. I move up to do something else. If I have 10 motorbikes, then I strive to own a bus. So I'm not staying in the comfort zone of only bringing maybe 1,000 shillings a day. Once I achieve 1,000 shillings a day, I want you to know that I want now to bring $2,000. I want to multiply. I want to move to something else. So a comfort zone comes in when we don't realize that we still have potential. And when we are comparing ourselves to someone else, you're like, nobody else has even one. So you feel you're successful. But when you compare yourself to yourself, you'll always succeed, because you'll say, I've already mastered this. So what is next for me? So my challenge to young people, be better than you were yesterday. That removes you from the comfort zone. If you are a teacher in the classroom, how do I become better than I was yesterday? I go back to class and take my master's, and I move to become maybe a lecturer. As a lecturer, how do I become better? I'm like, oh, why can't I get a scholarship? Because I'm comparing myself to what I've done. I'm like, I'm done with this. I want something else better. But when we compare ourselves to others, there'll always be somebody who is lower than us, and we'll feel we are comfortable. Thank you.
Allow me, Jose, to add on what Prof said. Even if you do something that you like or whatever you like, that does not prevent you from dreaming. You have to always dream. You run your race. I always tell people to run their own races, but learn to compete with yourself. If this year you achieved something, regardless of whatever you're doing, even if you're doing whatever you like to do, what else can you do better next time? And I always tell people that if your dream is not too big to scare you, then you're not dreaming. Keep dreaming, keep casting for better, and that will take you places. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Millie from Sydney, Australia. Anyone on this other side who wants to add something? And from there, we will go back to ground. Anyone for a few seconds, and then we go back to ground. Reverend Lele. Reverend Lele from Melbourne, Australia. Karibu Reverend Lele.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Hosea. And I want to appreciate first the professor for the message. That has been very, very powerful, very clear, very relevant to people that are attending the conference today. We really to say you are really still in touch with the ground. I thought you've stayed so much in America for too long that you might have, but you are so relevant. Maybe just one quick question, Prof. Currently, we have an issue with identifying opportunities that are around. How can we help these young people identify these opportunities that they can really help themselves with? As much as, you know, people might be staying at around Chebaiywo, Cheptiret, Kesses, and all those kind of things without knowing that even the little opportunities that are within the place. Like there was somebody who was asking us that so many people from different parts of the world, of the country are working in Moi University, yet those who are close at the neighbors of Moi University are taking jobs like watchmen, cleaners, and all the others. So yet I'm trying to, I really don't want to use so much. Maybe you understand my question that how are we able to tap and to identify the resources that are within our reach quickly? Thank you so much. I appreciate your question. You are very, thank you.
Professor, one more question from our brother Jonah, and then you will answer all of them. Jonah, kindly unmute and go ahead and I get question in Jonah.
Congratulations. Alem konga kasar na kai ko ne opportunity no ne so bit ke te swala mo tege. Professor ang katane abuno ground. So ka tinte swala ke na gamda te pa ko yin. How do we help our people from home? Because most of the time when give me to get them give out in it's really hard to help. I'm jumping man ndi jo roman ndi ki bendi to lit ndi ki me the to you grew up, you were in your school together. By the way, this is my primary school where I started from. Yeah, Chebaiywo Roman, that's where I did my primary and everything. So whenever I go home, that's my home. So I'm a professor. Those no be again because it's really challenge. Ginur jitong collaborate, kulin jitawir wage. So kupetun amung gawirun ranegi, kawon islam pakol ran, ananawo membili. Will that really help you? Sasa nguna nga commit situation ile jinige. Mami ni authorities ngo gozi ki jiji. So I've not helped such a side of mami ya to authority. It's really hard. Angile niligator gimojitain other ideas about like just trying to get some scholarship or some other things. Kulin jita ora lia torton gin lebanuais. Sasa nguna ko betuni silarang kuti. There's a lot of people. It's a really challenge. Sasa nguna angile nile ko betuni lare itortingo ngno. So that's the question. What should we do so that we can help our people from home? This is my home ground. I feel it's really challenging. Yeah, so that's my question. Thank you.
Very, very well said. Thank you. The two questions, let's combine both of them. From Reverend Lele, thank you for your words. And the immediate opportunities. I more invested. In your watchman, in your secretary, in your big upsa. Lagen in Giwe, Kenyatta University and Conero University, come in your Rubikyo, in your Rubio Gavara, the Mulinda or a Quasit Gavara. Mami big kia wara walinda. So mata guys raging ga. Amata guys raging sang. Now, kitun ko ngetin komite ni sigriye. Kwala mi korata sigriye. Ngin getit kole aso ko chapko ko ni giwe ni jamu bna sigriye no barasit, let's say barasit nana. Ko tun ko mara sigriye ke tunoto. Ni ko so gana ko meta yin se barasit nya we jige. La gana mo jam ko ta barasit kla. Ko nyale ko we ni ko dili barasit, ko e se barasit ko nge. Amu ngme ta barasit ko ratat nyo to geroti. Kwesha kwa mas barasit kwesha ko nget barasit. Finally ko le jito ali ka kwesha barasit ko ke le ka itiaje ko la chokte na barasit na mara. Ke le ji ngen barasit metni wala rata. Nyege ngen la marata barasit. So wala ara galia ke le ji berber ke ai ge uyo ge bitia barasit. Kung nyege rin barasit ku yo itioji ko na wala ka gitia. At that point it will go. So if ko berberge we are to barasit amami gambe by the way. Ang nyalo ko dulce barasit amu ga ko ne barasit ko la gitiya. The barasit was left. Ko tiak barasit amu ga la gitiya. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this to say our biggest problem the bagasi se kimiga de jange is not kasi se kimagunyoru, it is the attitude. Negle mo de joga se jata. Paturganege, palamege, ma po kwonye. So why am I saying that? Picture ongi tiaj kambet ngi garate barasit ngeter. Nyagi tiaj kambet ke lejige. Kasi tagatukol ko gasit, it doesn't matter. Picture tukul jaga was sang Australia and the US. Agotaneni agereni. Oginyo taune kasi ngi uni boyship. I'm a professor. I want to be very clear about that. Why? It is my best job to date. Agotungu no rane. Professor, why is that? What I cannot do. That is why I said in my presentation. Most of us they tell us I cannot do this, I cannot do that. And I answer back. I did not ask you what you cannot do. Tell me what you can do. In most times, Kongeleji Tagago Kasula Moja, Kelastano. Our kitchen book, the moment Kagi charge meto work free, we can do anything. Number two, it is not even Kazita Bojaman again. Maybe Kejang, by the way, in Nairobi and other parts of the world, they are working online. Kwegasi in America or Miganya. I got it in other countries of Miganya. There are so many jobs in the online right now, so that all we need to do is get our people. Internet. So it is not the lack of opportunities; it is the lack of willingness to try anything. That is why I go to store in Wajita Nagita when secretary in university. When you have to leg never teach you money. Well, go that like one and before she knew it, she was here. Let's begin by our willingness to do what we can do. And back to Jonah's question. Jonah, you have a very good point. You must be Diaspora. Amungo lengo itkagole mabot lili medijito gulgele wirwaje ju ko noju amaja itu amaja banamne ko agot piki mi Nairobi ala dore ma banyo baga amungo itkago itpio ko logona ju. Here is what we need to do as a group. Let's go back to the story of the man. Nigijam kwendi fishing. Ang yaga ko fishing ko mi dejito nigijam ko tapche ngonyangin ngoy na ko genijito na ko fishing. Fishing, you go watching Julia one fish. Colabatita Quamanga. Pay tooth negi no jijota man many fish. Unyalenyo legit can go Samakian, you get lemanam grande, Girana, which way you nege, menyo rogi. Koguya jita will oh, Jitepchemuyugla, I need to take him to fish. As a betun manam, the fish go, well, I may be a tun magunu fishing going on. Why am I saying that, Pikyok? As families of Kote to me, we need to empower our people, not give them handouts. I was home one time. When you talk almost called on we would me and Bill, me how much van a menu. I let the one it here. Kanji ngaji no kama just walk at you, muga mede ngatin, to mede swat kurat you, kama je mi gasa na hot you dogo. I think it's Mago na me and Bill, I won't in Miatano, and I will for moja. But walk, I asked him, there was a sit and you go in the Roger Abinaga. He did not walk, he walked away complaining. The money I had, I wanted him to earn his money. We need to begin to make our people earn our money. Am I saying we don't give them anything? No. I'm not going to empower and be lazy gay. No, greenhouse. Greenhouse, selling in the village of America, which only 200,000. Our one about 2 million in a year in Chebaiywo. Chebaiywo, the last time I was there, oh, didn't you say rate no me about no ending down you baru. Me make says, what is wrong about getting 2 acres by Kesses? I take a pampan bake to Mawaji, with bake to Magatia. I get pampan go greenhouse, maybe 10 of them. Who will supply Nyanyek in the rate, but not people from Kesses? How do we have Mamingwe Kesses? Chitan the Mia no, Mamingwe, right after Manaway. I would think a big yato, I would get 100 shillings. So it is not lack of finances. If you want a forum, let's get into a forum to talk about this. Like and the Farasi will walk away. Thank you.
Professor, we're so engaging the discussion, but we still have an upcoming program that will Crusade is waiting in some few minutes. I'm just with you, most of us to get another section probably. I'm just with you, Balozi, our elder Balozi, for summarizing. I will go on AOB and then give it back to ground immediately. Balozi. Balozi. Karibu Balozi. Balozi. Balozi continue challenge probably niba musang natin Balozi matine possible kongalal amejata to Pastor Moses in all of our behalf. Pastor Moses from Melbourne, Australia, and then from there back to ground. Pastor Moses. Balozi challenge. Karibu Pastor Moses.
Gongoi Hosea pas amaja akat tuyet tengo limba Chebaiywo engainetab Jeiso ale chamgei. Bwana asifiwe. Wasa komye Hosea mi oret maana ngotot kasa.
Kikasin.
Pas ameja weki Jehova gongoi amu boisiet nekakotestai, ameja amwachi gongoi boitiot nekamtoi. Ameja amwachi gongoi Professor Por eng challenge and encouragement nekacher biik che mengechen because of akobo ngalekab mental health. Amwae kongoi kora amu ngalalet kamtaet nekabo betutab rani. Abwati ale eng kebeberta kitikin nekajoinen amu kami boisiet aka mande kokakas ngalek cheechen nekamtoi kiboitiot eng kaptuyet. Abwati ale neranik ak biik tugul chekakase ngoliot nebo betutab rani kokakecher ako kaib ki eng betutab rani. So kimwae kongoi neo mising eng kebeberta nebo Melbourne ko kemboi kimi kebendi saa 4 nebo kemboi ko kimwae ache kele kongoi amu Pastor Grace, kongoi Hosea, kongoi amu akina Mili, biik tugul chekoteb ngwony akotet boisiet, kongoi amu kandoik chebo Tumaini Fellowship Church amu boisiet, kongoi amu chi age tugul nekakojoinen akot eng betutab rani. Ameche kityo amwa ale eng betut nebo mutai ketuitosi eng Chebaiywo. Ameche ale sikobit kechobake kongeteke Sunday school akoi koi keyai tuyet nebo saisiekab saa 4 akoi kiwongu. So matinye ngal chetya, ameche kityo acher neranik alechi lapkei tai amu kakeib ngoliotab Jehova ako kakecherak kele takomite kamangunet, mitei boroinwek emotinwek cheterchin. So yakaisoman chito ako kainyoru chekenyoru, ikilgei amat komein mugulel eng kit age tugul nekenyoru ngolobo sukul. Matibwat ile oye makomukokse koyaak ni ak ni. Yote inawezekana ukiweka Mungu mbele. Ukimwamini Mungu na ujue ya kwamba kwa maisha yako yeye ndiye alipanga. Kwa hakika ataweza, ama wewe mwenyewe you will make it by trusting and believing in God. So amakwok boroindo ne inegei yekibendi akot Crusade, tutaendelea pamoja. Kongoi Hosea.
Kongoi Pastor Moses ak team tugul, team Diaspora chekakoingian from takwek cheterchin. Kitinye biik from takwek chebo America, kitinye Basilisa Kujure all the way from Ohio, kitinye mwalimu Kipkemboi Maraba all the way from Hungary, kitinye Chaki all the way from Olimba, Nebraska, kitinye Shadrach kongete Olimba Colorado, Irene Olimba Poland, ak all the team chebo Diaspora. Kakere kitinye challenge Balozi kameche kityo kokon AOB akerekte back to ground. Balozi tinye a big challenge nebo Balozi tikokorom Balozi from our team. Kongoi professor, from here back to ground. Balozi sinyo mutai nikonech AOB mutai komi biik kanisa after church. Balozi back to ground. Ground. Karibu mchungaji. Yes.
Professor Bore, for the words that you have given us of wisdom. You've made our youngsters learn about so many things they're supposed to accomplish in life. Professor Bore, asante sana, tunakushukuru sana. Na pia tunashukuru pia vijana wetu ambao wamekaa chini for the patience. I remember when I was in India, the first time that my professor alifunza for 5 hours. They learned patience na nikakaa chini. Na nashukuru sana our youngsters for staying and listening to Professor Bore from USA. The team Calvary Global Church, we appreciate you for the work you are doing. And I hope that each one of you got a message about your choices that you make in life and the consequences that will come after that. So from today, learn from Professor Bore what he said and make sure that you make good choices in your life. I think I'll hand over this microphone to Pastor Grace for the next program.
Thank you. Amen. Bwana asifiwe. Tumebarikiwa. Hebu tupige makofi Mwenyezi Mungu. Amen. We really thank God so much. Napongezi kwa nyinyi wote. Haki Mungu so patient. Na Mungu tu awabariki, si ndio? Na Mungu akaweza kuongoza. Nitakaribisha Pastor Ezra ili aweze kutupatia direction from here. Lakini kabla hajakuja, sijui kama ako karibu, nataka niwaambie tutakuwa na crusade after lunch. Sijui ni lunch ama ni late, ni yale dinner. Tumalize alafu tuende crusade, si ndio? Tusichoke. We want to do all what activities that we had today. Thank you so much, Diaspora team. Thank you, Professor Bore. That was really a great teaching. May God bless you. Thank you, our brother Filipo. That was excellent. Thank you, our brother Boyd also. That was really awesome. Na kama mko na maswali, sasa zile tuko hapo, uliza, reach them. They can really talk to you. Mungu awabariki sana. Crusade, msisahau. Tutaenda crusade. Karibu sana. Ezra, umalizie.
Thank you very much. Mine is to say thank you to all of us for having participated with us. Thank you, Professor Bore. Thank you, Pastor Hosea. All of us ambao wameparticipate, nasema asante sana. Nashukuru kwa sababu ya the powerful presentation that you've had. May God bless you. May He keep you. Right from here, tukimaliza, we will be taking our lunch. Chishiri together with the team is ready. Kwa hii nyumba ya mabati, tutachukua lunch yetu hapo, kuhakikisha tumekula within the shortest time possible. And it is my request that we join together the crusade. Tusiende nyumbani. Let us go as a team
tuende kule ili kwamba tuweze kujumuika pamoja katika kueneza neno la Mungu kule Chebaiywo Market. Otherwise, may the Lord bless you, may He keep you as you continue. We all stand. Let's all stand. Tusimame. Just shortly, to do a very short chorus as a benediction. Alafu tutaomba. Asante sana Yesu, asante sana Yesu, asante sana Yesu moyoni. Asante sana Yesu, asante sana Yesu, asante sana Yesu moyoni. Sing together. Asante sana Yesu, asante sana Yesu, asante sana Yesu moyoni. Asante sana Yesu, asante sana Yesu, asante sana Yesu moyoni. Tunakupenda Yesu, tunakupenda Yesu, tunakupenda Yesu moyoni. Tunakupenda Yesu, tunakupenda Yesu, tunakupenda Yesu moyoni. Unatujali Bwana, unatujali Bwana, unatujali Bwana moyoni. Unatujali Bwana, unatujali Bwana, unatujali Bwana moyoni. Mwenyezi Mungu muumba mbingu na nchi, tunalitukuza jina lako kwa sababu ni jina kuu kupita majina yote. Mwenyezi Mungu, tulikuita tangia nyakati za asubuhi kwamba uweze kuandamana pamoja nasi katika vipindi vyote ambavyo tumekuwa nao. Baba wa mbinguni, Mungu mtakatifu, tunashukuru kwa sababu ya uwepo wako ambao umekuwa pamoja nasi, umeandamana pamoja nasi, umetuongoza kwa Roho Mtakatifu. Mwenyezi Mungu, asante kwa sababu ya watumishi wako ambao wamenena na watoto wako. Asante kwa sababu ya vijana hawa pamoja na wazazi wetu ambao wameketi kwa nyakati hizo zote kwamba waweze kusikiza kutoka kwako. Asante kwa sababu ya Pastor Hosea, asante kwa sababu ya Professor Bore, asante kwa sababu ya kilimo ambaye amekuwa pamoja nasi. Mwenyezi Mungu, tunashukuru kwa sababu umenena kuwapitia, tumepata mafundisho ya kipekee, na Mwenyezi Mungu tukapenda kushukuru kwa ajili yao. Tunasema asante kwa ajili ya kazi iliyo mbele yetu. Mwenyezi Mungu, tunaomba ya kwamba uweze kutupatia breakthrough hata kwa ajili ya crusade tuliyo nayo jioni hii ya leo. Asante Mungu kwa sababu ya mipango yote ambayo ilipangwa kwa ajili ya kazi hii. Asante kwa sababu ya mchungaji Kesses, tunaomba ya kwamba uweze kumbariki, na Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kumpatia wazo hili. Tunashukuru kwa sababu utaendelea na kutubariki. Mwenyezi Mungu, utufanye kama jinsi utakavyo. Kwa yale maneno ambayo tumejifundisha siku hii ya leo, masomo ambayo tumejifundisha, wacha yawe ni masomo ambayo itabadilisha maisha yetu. Mwenyezi Mungu, tunapoondoka sasa hata kupata chakula cha mchana, Mwenyezi Mungu, tunaomba ya kwamba uweze kubariki na kuitakaza tupate nguvu ya kukutumikia kwa njia ya Kristo aliye Bwana na Mwokozi wetu. May the Lord bless you so much. Tutaenda alafu tupate chakula cha mchana, na baada ya hapo tusipoteze wakati, tuandamane kwa pamoja kwa sababu tutahitaji mpaka huko kwenye crusade. Na Mwenyezi Mungu atawabariki na kuwaongoza. Asanteni sana. Asante Pastor Hosea. Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki na kuwaongoza. Asanteni.
Hosea. Hosea.
We appreciate so much on the ground from Chebaiywo. We appreciate for those who join us from different parts of the world.
Kaimande Osea.
Pastor Moses, Dr. Paul,